Today on Running to Him.
The Christians at Thyatira were warned against tolerating immorality. Today's reading from the Reading Plan is Revelation 2, verses 18 through 29, and we will be concentrating on verses 19 through 20 and 24 through 25. Revelation 2, 19 through 20 and 24 through 25 say this: I know of your deeds and of your love and faith and service and perseverance, and that your deeds of late are greater than those of the first. But I have this against you, that you tolerate the woman Jezebel, who calls herself a prophetess, and she teaches and leads my bondservants astray, so that they commit acts of immorality and eat things sacrificed to idols. But I say to you, the rest who are in Thyatira, who do not hold this teaching, who have not yet known the deep things of Satan, as they call them, I place no other burden on you. Nevertheless, what you have, hold fast until I come. Now, we live in a church world today which not only tolerates immorality, but practices it. Many churches in the United States tend to look at sin as more of a mistake than an illness. They approach sin as if it were bad behavior in which learning to do good will eradicate that problem. But the problem is not in the act, but instead about what we think about the action. The problem is rooted in our minds and in our heart. Now, in the 1850s, there was a scandal caused by the fact that the television program I Love Lucy showed the Ricardo's bedroom. People were shocked that such an impropriety would occur, particularly on national TV. Fast forward 40 years, and a few days ago, I watched the pilot episode of JAG, which was produced in 1995. Now, I can't remember if I had seen it before, but I guess that I hadn't, because the first season was not broadly watched and CBS bought the rights to the program for the second and following seasons. The storyline in this case was of a female aircraft weapons officer stationed on an aircraft carrier. Now, she was murdered, but before her death, they showed her in her cabin aboard the ship as she walked around in her underwear. Our minds and hearts have degraded so much that we don't object to an actor in her underwear on a TV program that anyone might see of any age at any time. The church at Thyatira also had accepted as normal some forms of immorality by following a charismatic leader who entices them through their lusts. But this type of activity was not and is not only restricted to Thyatira. In the 1980s through 1993, a man by the name of David Koresh led a cult while claiming to be an offshoot of Christianity. His power of persuasion grew so vast among the group that he convinced his women followers that they had to have sexual relations with him if they were going to go to heaven. As bad as it would have been if he just suggested a one-time event, he told them that his decision would control this activity, and if he wanted sexual relations with them at any time, they could not question him. Acts of immorality in the church create a scandalous situation. The world views Christians so that if a Christian gets caught in doing something immoral, then all Christians are seen as hypocrites, as is Christ himself. The fact that non-Christians participate in the same activity is irrelevant. Christians are then guilted into eventually accepting the activity as normal, something in which they might also participate. Now, we are all sinners. We are all ill with a disease which affects the mind and the heart. The only way to attack this disease is to seek out the correct medication. Christians need to support each other. They need to pray for each other. They need to feel free to have a relationship with a more mature Christian so they can share their deepest struggles and together overcome those temptations. We are to flee immorality, not tolerate it, and make it our own.
Thank you for listening. We pray that today's devotion was meaningful to you. We would love to hear from you. You can use either Facebook or YouTube to like, subscribe, share, and tell others about us. If you would like to contact us, you can reach me at phineasjacobus@runningtohim.net.